David, I'm going to address that tonight. Let's see if screen has audio. Okay, now we have audio on the overhead, and we have audio on the screen, and we have audio here. Joe, thank you for all the thumbs up. And from San Diego, KG7JM. Yes, I imagine it's pretty nice in San Diego, although you're probably getting a lot of the smoke from the fires down there. I saw a lot of it going up north, up through Idaho and Wyoming, and then over as far as Kansas City. We've got fires here that are coming, the smoke is coming south our way. Hello from Indianapolis. Hello, James. How are you? I'm going to get my right shirt. I got to have my right shirt on. I've got the questions here. There, now it's official. I got the right shirt on. Your t-shirt. Let's see. Hi, Boyd from North Carolina. Way south of smoke. 81 degrees, 66% humidity. In San Diego, wow, that's humid for there. And of course, it's end of August. It'll be hot in Southern California through October. I'm sorry, just finishing dinner here. Don, hello from Texas. Alex, hello. Beautiful British Columbia. Hello, Brian. Kenosha from Jason. Smoky Southwest Idaho. Ray, you're enjoying the California smoke there. And Aldi says hi. Don just worked chilly on the DX Commander. I've got my DX Commander now. I have a new assistant. Old assistant. He's worked for me before. He's going to go in the Air Force. He hopes to become an aircraft mechanic, and I say more power to him. Let's see, show hi, yeah, that's fine. Don't know why they objected that one. His name is Julian Wonderburger, and you may remember he introduces all of the technician videos. He's going into the Air Force, and he's going through his testing and stuff like that right now. It'll probably be toward the end of the year. So he's trying to get the best results on that test so he can get the job that he wants. Let's see, we have... anyway, what I was going to say about that is that he is building the DX Commander. I had somebody say that the instructions weren't very good, so I thought, well, He's a very normally competent person in many regards. He's about 20, and he ought to be able to put an antenna together. So he's taking video of his work to put the antenna together, and then we'll see how that comes out. Hopefully he'll be finished in a few days. We've got greetings from Denver, where it's apparently not as warm as it has been. The outdoor temperature here is 80 right now and falling as the sun sets. Greetings from Tim O'Connor in San Diego. Kansas City, KE0CIW. And Don DeGidio says hi. CP Culhane said he'd enjoy some California smoke. I don't know if you would. What I hear is it's pretty bad on those who have problems like asthma and so on. I have asthma, but it's triggered mostly by exertion and not by the smoke and stuff. Yeah, I'll take all the likes you want. Lots of videos and Callum and a number of us on Discord to help him with the build if he needs it. All right, he has looked at some videos for that, and that's a good thing. Now, I went on to, well, first of all, let me just mention what I'm doing here. I liked the thing where that 15-minute warm-up period while we're waiting for people to gather is a really good time to just chat. Just chat. And we won't formally start the meeting until on... No, there's no audio on that. But we'll just chatter a little bit about things. And let's see. Hello from Michigan, from Rob, K8IBX. High temp at my place at Denver was 95. It's now 82. Yeah, it usually cools down here at night. When I was down in Arizona doing all that flying stuff, it cooled down at night. It really did. It got from 115 down to about 100. So, although there was one morning it was very cool, it got down into the 80s, but promptly got up into the mid-100 teens. Oh, Nashville getting the Laura rain. I've heard that's really bad. Apparently the storm surge was not as much as was feared. I saw one thing on TV where this guy had built his house on piers, and they weren't just wood sticks. These were great big pipes, metal pipes, and he had that thing about 20 feet in the air. I suspect he could have ridden through it if the wind didn't blow the top of it off. Let's see, Nashville getting rain. Hello from wine country. I understand. If that's California that you mean, there's a lot of fires up there. I'm curious how you're doing. Magic Man said, I built a ground out of 3 plates of 8 by 10 inch aluminum plates. Couldn't bury further than 22 inches, lots of area. What do you think? Can't drive stakes as I live in an apartment. You know, it sounds like it's, if not good enough, it'll be close to good enough. Probably do well. Now, note that when you connect the copper wire to the aluminum, use stainless steel in there to do that. Stainless steel is not perfect. Stainless steel is not completely stainless, but you put, well, why don't we cover that when we actually officially start? Let's see, when are you doing a YouTuber's bunch? I haven't yet. I've been invited. I'm on their list. I just haven't done it yet. Antennas just survived a whopper of a thunder lightning windstorm. Yeah. I put a Tram WSP 1481 2 and 70 centimeter antenna at 50 feet. Now I can hear half of lots of faraway conversations. Oh, you're probably fine. But yeah, I know what you mean. You could lower it. You get fewer of those. But let's see, Glenn. Good to see you again. Hello from Far West, Missouri. Mark, it turns out, is near the city of Sonoma in California, not too close to the fires. And MDK2 heard a lot of activity in the Hurricane Watch net yesterday, but almost nothing today. Well, I don't know. The hurricane has already come ashore, so they may have shut down that net once it came ashore, but it's still working its way up the Mississippi Valley, and there's going to be lots of stuff going on there. Pat says hello from Alabama. Do I think the extra exam will be more difficult than the last ones? No, I don't. I've been going through and updating the videos, and I'm through section 7, so I have 8, 9, and 10. 9 and 10, I think there's an 11 to do. And I'll try and get those done quickly. That's one of the things I want to address when we get started. Have you tried JS8 call? I have not. Keep reminding me. I need to do that. Arkansas Harrison, friendly place. Well, good. Yeah, I was down in, no, my goodness. Todd, KE2YNT, thank you very much. Says, love you, Dave. Thanks so much for always being there for us. Well, I try. I'm going through a bit of a decommitment exercise to try to get things back down to a dull roar here. I dropped out completely except for the live streams in Arizona, and I've got to get these extra videos done, and it turns out there's not, so far, a huge amount of change. There's some in this chapter I'm going into, so I may need to tweak some things. I'll have to look at it a little bit more closely, which I think I will do next week. I got the 6s and 7s up this week. That's 6 videos, and have them others coming up. So Todd, thank you very much for the super chat. This is one of the way that I gather money for the channel funds. What do you think about the proposed $50 application fee from the FCC for ham licenses and renewals? Elias, I've never heard that. It does not sound like what the FCC would do. The problem, they used to have fees for doing things, and fees for doing vanity licenses, but the problem was it cost them more to process the fee than the fee. So you'd have to get up like what they might charge a commercial station, into the thousands of dollars to make the fee worthwhile. So I really don't think that proposed $50 application fee from the FCC is real. Yeah, I'll have to try JS8 call. Do you know if anyone ever had luck constructing a VHF or UHF Omni modeled after a Legacy Starduster? I don't. I'm not sure what a Legacy Starduster is. Not heard of that one. Houston TV reporter doing fake hurricane coverage last night. Camera panned over far enough to show the guy holding a water hose behind the shop fan. Oh, that is bad. There was a similar type thing where they showed this TV reporter leaning into the wind and just having a terrible time standing up in the wind. And a couple bystanders just sort of walk behind him and turn around and look at him to see what he's doing and all of that. Yeah, that stuff gets shot through pretty quick. Okay, so Don DeGidio is working FT8 and 40 meters. 40 meters is a good band for it, 40 and 20. Mr. G says, how are you? I'm fine, thank you. Nice to join your stream. You were instrumental in my getting licensed 1 year ago this month. Well, very good. That's from KC3NYT. Let's see. Yeah, Gray Line is a good time to work DX. Gray line is dawn or dusk, and it's a ring around the entire Earth where it's dawn or dusk, depending on which side of the Earth you're on. And it's the time during the day when the propagation shifts from day to night and from night to day. And you can get some very interesting propagation as the ionosphere is adjusting. So it's a real good time to work the X. Okay, getting ready to build the QCX Plus QRP transceiver. That's a nice little radio, and I'm glad to see he's repackaged. W4ORH Ron wishes us good evening. Vanity call almost required for reliable QSOs in the SATs. Hi to everybody from Utah, from Vincent Bellin, KJ7DOD. How are the landings going? Well, we'll find out tomorrow. I break in a new CSI tomorrow morning. This will be my third. And I'll be up at in Delta Blake, north of Montrose. Well, it's time to start the ham radio part of this, and we'll just do it with the official part. There, they have the official music, and we're started on the ham radio portion of this. I'm Dave Casler, amateur radio call sign KE0OG, and welcome to our Thursday live stream. I have an announcement in going through a decommitting exercise to try and look at all the various activities I've gotten involved with over time. I'm going to be dropping the Saturday live stream. I'll just be doing the Thursday. Thursday seems to work out really well. Well, they both do. And we have a slightly different audience on the two. But I'm going to focus on the live stream on Thursdays. And then I'll try and get out about 3 videos a week after I finish the extra videos, updating those, which I hope to do in the next couple weeks. I do now have a new contact form up on the website. If you go to ke0og.net/ask-dave, there is a contact form, and this is how the things come to me. They come to hamradioanswers@gmail.com, and there's a place for your name and call sign, your email, and a question. And that's not a very complicated form, so if you'd like to just fill that out and with your question, that would work fine. Something happened to the old one. It just stopped working. And so I took it down for a while because I was wondering why I was getting no questions. I was getting no questions because the form wasn't working. So the form was based on the built-in YouTube contact form system. So I went and got a aftermarket contact form, a free one. It only allows you to create one form, and that's all I need, one form, so people can ask questions. And then that's what we use for this, and also on our ham radio club. I've got a form manager on there too. So I had a question earlier, and I'm going to put it on the overhead. Here's the overhead, and it looks like we've got audio. And that's about those aluminum ground plates and copper pipe. And I'm just going to draw the edge of the aluminum plate. Okay? And we're going to drill a hole through here. Okay? So this is aluminum, or aluminium if you are from Great Britain. Now you've got this wire coming through that you want to be your ground, and it's going to come into a kind of a circular thing that the bolt will go through. Now what you need to do is separate the aluminum from the copper. And what you do is you put a stainless steel, is that showing up? Yeah, it does. Okay. A stainless steel bolt through, and then you put a stainless steel washer right here, and another stainless steel washer right here, and then a stainless steel nut on the top. Now, what this does is there is no direct contact between the copper and the aluminum. And stainless steel is not perfectly corrosion proof, but it's about the best that you can do on a low budget without getting really expensive stuff. And this should actually last for quite a while, even out in the elements. So stainless steel is the pink. Now you can get these and make sure they really are stainless. And don't mix them up with your other stuff. I have a little pill jar that I keep full of my stainless steel hardware. I don't have a lot because it's kind of expensive. But you need like a number or a 1/4-inch bolt coming through here with 1/4-inch washer and a 1/4-inch nut. All of it stainless. You can't mix and match. It's got to be stainless. And then your aluminum, then your copper. The copper doesn't touch the aluminum, and you don't get the corrosion like you would if you put the just connected the copper directly to the aluminum. Okay, so let's see. Getting ready to build the transceiver. Good evening from Missouri. How are the landings going? We'll find out tomorrow. Your opinion, what would be the best HF radio for a wheelchair user wanting to do portable? I would look at the Yaesu radios. You can get a little Yaesu radio that's about the size of a mobile radio, about that thick. You can get 100 watts, or you can go with the QRP. That gives you something that's much smaller to deal with. Of course, you're still going to have to deal with the battery, and you're going to have to deal with an antenna. So, okay, good evening from Missouri. And let's see, KK4AVE studying for his extra. Good, Mark. If you will look on my extra page, in fact, why don't we look together at my extra page? My extra page here is, let's see, ke0og.net/extra. Okay, now, what we have here are all of the videos for the extra. And you can see that they go down and cover every section of the book. I've got 8, 9, 10, and 11 to do. 11's going to be easy because there will be no changes. Some of these there won't be any changes. Some of these there may be. Note that some of these videos I broke into 2 parts just because they were so unwieldy. But here's what I'm down to, 7.3. And then these are the leftovers from the old right here. And as I replace them, I will replace them and give you the URLs for the new ones. I don't take the old videos down because, well, one thing, they're really old, but sometimes people have links to them. What I really would like is for YouTube to have a capability so that I could take a video down and put a link there to the new video. Seems so easy? No, they don't have that. So, what can I say? All right, let's go back to normal view here. We're looking at what's going on. We have 14 concurrent viewers right now. Okay, and Don, thank you. Hello from Dayton, Ohio, W8ASA. Is that the club station there in Dayton? At the VOA Museum? I can't remember. Love the J-pole antenna videos. Are there any updates? No, not recently. Mark is a truck driver from all over the country. Audio's good on the overhead. Yeah, I'm using this Chinese mic over here. Got a Motorola MTX 82050 LS for the programming. Wow. Yeah, if you've got a Motorola radio, you've got issues programming it because Motorola charges for the software. What are spade connectors made of? They are made probably of tinned copper, I'm guessing. But someone tries to use plastic washers, yeah, that won't work real well. Okay, let's see. How about degrease? DE grease. There are conductive greases that you can put on things that cover the connection and reduce the corrosion potential. Make sure it's a conductive grease and conductive at RF. South Central Kansas checking in. Okay. And Brian, thanks for the kind words. And hi from Ottawa, Canada. And Marco Rubio tested positive for, no, I don't know what that is. He tested positive for COVID-19, I think. Yes, do hit the like button. That helps. W8BI is the Dayton Club station. Okay. How useful is using a copper plate as ground plane under the HF radio to reduce noise? I really don't think it'll help because most radios have aluminum cases, and those aluminum cases are well grounded and connected to ground. So just adding more of that's probably not going to help unless you have an RF generator of some sort directly under your desk that's affecting your radio. I don't think it will help much. Good evening from Alaska. Hello, Catherine. And Sagma is more contagious than the flu. This is Dankashi Ocho Cinco. I don't. Okay. Are SDR with transmit capability worth it? Well, if you get the IC7300, I think so. The IC7300 is a software-defined radio both on the receive and the transmit side. I would not, however, invest in a radio that's only got 5 watts out, and then you've got to get a big amplifier on it. One of the reasons that they're only 5 watts out is that sometimes their emissions, their spurious emissions, are a little too high. And by limiting it to 5 watts out, you're fine with the FCC, but if you put an amplifier on that, it's not fine anymore. So get something like the there are lots of radios now that are software defined. The ICOM 7300 is what I have in the reference station and the one that I recommend. Okay, Flex Radio, loved it. Okay, what is the best ground? The one you have is the best ground. The one you have. If you take the time to run a ground rod as close as you can get it to your station and run the ground like I showed in Ask Dave number 8 and in the Motorola handbook and so on, that's your best ground, and you can improve it. There are different techniques to improving it, but it's like asking what's the best camera. Well, it's the one you have with you. So, all right. Howdy from San Antonio. And Clark, welcome. Thanks for your opinion. From KI7BSJ from southeastern Idaho. That's the LDS part of Idaho. Okay, this one is from Mark Smith. And let's see if he's got a... no, he doesn't have... Yes, he does. Whiskey 4 Echo Echo Tango W4EET. And what he is concerned about is, how do you get students interested in electronics to really love ham radio? And here's his questions. How do we get the people at the ham clubs who are critical and not nice to change their ways? Unfortunately, you don't. People are people, and the older they get, the harder they are set in their ways. Sometimes awareness helps, but I wouldn't count on it. Can we get young people today to rediscover the magic of radio? Absolutely, we can. I worked for 10 years with an organization called Park Junior. That's the Boulder Amateur Radio Club Junior Division, that was run by a retired kindergarten teacher and her husband, who were both hams. And her husband did the technical stuff, and she did the organizational stuff. And at any given time, we had about 30 kids there. And we put over 200 people who got licenses through that program. And what kept them going was that there was constant activity. It was organized. There were people there to help. And I want to focus on just this one point tonight on this. People go where they feel welcome. Okay? People go where they feel welcome. Whether it's a church, social event, or whatever, people go where they feel welcome. And if you bring in a young ham into any of our clubs with the older people there, the ham is introduced, everybody applauds them, and then that's the last anybody talks to the ham, the young ham. And the young ham's looking around at all these old people ignoring him, and they're talking about things that he doesn't understand, and he doesn't feel involved in any of the activities. There aren't any activities that would really interest someone young. By the way, the young love fox hunts. I think that is a good part of the problem. So a club for youth will have other youth, first of all. The youth will have responsibilities, like being, president of the youth club or treasurer or something like that, and each will be assigned an adult advisor to help them with that. And they'll have activities, and not monthly, weekly, something. Get together, have a little club meeting, maybe have a fox hunt, maybe have a party, maybe whatever. Okay? And always access to Elmer's, always access to testing. So, and the kids, the way it came about is the Van Winkles, Rip, of course, and Ellie were asked to teach about a ham radio at the local middle school in Louisville, on the Front Range in the Denver area. Not Louisville. We can always tell the outsiders it's Louisville. And they helped all these people be hams, and then Ellie, who's the former kindergarten teacher, recognized that the kids needed something to hold them together, so she created a club for them. And it ran for probably 20, 25 years. I was involved with it for 10, and then I moved in 2003 down here. Now, Rip and Ellie have both passed away, but the Boulder Club is still moving along with that program. I did an article on that program for QST some gazillion years ago, and it kind of listed the kinds of things that they did. But the fact is, you can do this, but it takes a lot of interest on the part of people who really know youth. So you're looking for retired teachers or something like that who really know youth, and you've got to have all of the correct amount of supervision and so on. You can't ever have, situations that could be questionable. But you have to work on those things. That's how you do it. It takes a whale of a lot of work. And for the Van Winkles, that was their retirement project. That's what they did. It wasn't a little thing on Saturdays. It was 7 days a week for them, because they were constantly before every session, they call every kid on the roster and ask if they were going to be there Saturday to get commitments and so on. And I mean, it was just fantastic. Okay, now this is from Raoul, November 4, Romeo Hotel Lima, and he said that he started learning CW about a month ago. He was somewhat dejected. He couldn't copy anything on the air, even though I could copy from the ICWO. I think that's a website. I asked in your live stream, and you told me to keep at it and continue listening on the air. You also recommended some 40-meter bands where slow CW is being transmitted, which is around 7060 and around 7110. And he says he finally made his first HF contact. It was over CW with the ham in Arizona. It was a momentous occasion for me. I really appreciate the motivation you gave. Thank you, and long live CW, with 73s from Raoul. So, congratulations. There's an excellent example of perseverance in ham radio. Okay, let's see. Is the Ligma system compatible with Motorola software? No idea. What's your opinion on the buddy pole? I have one. They work. It's obviously a compromised antenna because it's pretty low to the ground. The antennas are very much loaded, loading coils on them, but they work. You know, it's in the trailer. It's now, granted, I don't do a whole lot of stuff from the trailer. Usually, when we're on vacation, which we will be this weekend. Okay, this is from JP. What I think of the Buddy Pulse fine antenna. I reviewed it. There is a review of one. Let's see, Rexburg, Idaho. Be easier if the sun would perk you up. The young one, fox hunting. Yes. Best fox hunt is where everyone has a chance to locate it, and then all the fingers are dropped in a hat and one is selected to win a prize. Well, yeah, that may be going a little far, but certainly there should be a party afterwards. Even adult long-time ham visitors are ignored at most club meetings. Yes, this is true. This is true. How far above a field of radios can a vertical be mounted? Well, ideally, if you move the antenna up, you would move the radials up too. You don't have to, but that's what I'd recommend. Now, if you get more than about 10 feet off the ground with that, you're going to have to go to different kinds of radials, not just millions of random length, but like 2 on each band tuned, quarter wavelength long, taking into account the 95% velocity factor of wire. Okay, let's see. Dave just shared this stream to a couple of Facebook ham groups. Good, thank you. From Alpha Bravo 8, Alpha Sierra in West Virginia. A little question from a new ham. Can I connect a 2-meter antenna to a dual band transceiver? Yes, absolutely you can. Just don't transmit on 70 centimeters. Transmit on 2 meters and it will work fine. I do note that dual band antennas for 2 meters and 70 centimeters are remarkably inexpensive. MFJ has quite a selection. They've got the kind you can put on the roof and so on. And Ed Fong, EDFONG, has a website where he sells those multiband antennas. Okay. Otherwise, yeah, Amy, go ahead and do that, but just operate 2 meters. Don't operate 70 centimeters on that antenna. You need to get one, because the SWR is too high. Is a 2-element cubical quad 20 meters is really a low noise compared to an inverted V in Yagi? For years, there were arguments between the Yagi people and the cubicle quad people. As people stopped building their own antennas and started buying kits to put them together, they tended to go with the Yagi, which are simpler. The problem with the cubicle quads is keeping them in the air. They're flimsy. They get blown apart very easily, so you will want to be very careful with it. Frankly, the difference between the Yagi and the cubicle quad is not going to be big enough to bother with the trouble of the cubicle quad. Now, some aficionado will argue vigorously, but hello from Portugal, Hugo. How are you? Let's see. Took your advice, moved dipole away from the house, got it up over 30 feet, made contact with Rome. Good. Very good. Clark. Ham clubs need a welcoming committee. The whole club needs to be welcoming, but yes. Okay, this is from James Hollan. He has a question. If I would mount a center pole in the bed of a pickup truck for an inverted V antenna, in the field presumably, would the metal from the truck help or hinder the radiated signal? Well, James, I think the only real answer to that is everything affects everything in antennas. I do not think it will affect you adversely. So go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it. And Felipe Lewis, thank you very much for the super chat. Appreciate it very much. Okay, and Gilbert says hello from Mentone, California. I'm not sure where that is. Is that northern or southern California? I grew up in California. You'd think I'd know that, but tell me where that is. Okay, let's see. Was that... Okay, this one is from Ken Moss. In regard to your comment that the mast build described in video 250 not to exceed 20 feet or support an antenna such as a hex beam, he wonders if you bundle some of them together, would you make it stronger? And the answer is yes. But bundle them so that the joints are kind of staggered a little bit, and then clamp them all together. Now, I am not a mechanical engineer, so I cannot say how strong it would be. Now, what I did for my for the hex beam is I went down to a local metal supply place and got a full stick, which is 20 feet of Schedule 40 aluminum pipe. That is thick aluminum pipe. And that's what I have for the mast. And it's stood up to some pretty good windstorms and seems to be doing fine. It's very stiff. It was also hard to move because it was 20 feet. I have a friend who is a builder who has a long truck with the supports up there for ladders and things like that, and he was able to bring that pole home for me. Okay, San Bernardino County. Well, I used to have, my dad had a cabin in Lucerne Valley, which is to the east of Victorville and Apple Valley. And you say Mentone is there. Well, that's interesting. I will look that up to see where that is. Okay. This is Josh. I'm not licensed yet and just got my first radio today and already tuned into a net. Look forward to participating. Well, Josh, go to YouTube. Try this. Go to ke0og.net/training. Okay? ke0og.net/training. And that's .net, not .com or .org. And the training page up there tells you everything you need to know about becoming a technician licensee. And then when you've got that, go to the /general or the /extra page for all the rest of the training videos. They're all there. Welcome aboard, And Josh, I look forward to hearing from you as you progress in your journey. Oh, and Clark says, Don, thank you for talking me into the M&P coax. It's good stuff. It is good stuff. Amy said, thank you for your mentoring. Your videos helped me pass the general, and now I'm watching your extra course in anticipation of an autumn exam. Well, Amy, great. South California, Senor Dave. Okay. Used to ride dirt bikes in Lucerne Valley. Soggy dry lake. Yeah, that dry lake isn't always dry. There's two lakes out there. There's Rabbit Dry Lake, and then there's Lucerne Lake, or Lucerne Lake. And I've been out on both of them. Let's see, the current source put $5 into channel funds, and Louis Klein put 10. Thank you. Says, really enjoy your presentations, and let me not pronounce that literally. Louis, I'm just going to say dedication to the hobby there. Okay. Let's see, Keith Herzog, after unsuccessfully attempting to solder a PL259 to RG213 coax, ordered a crimping kit for the crimping both the shield and the center conductor. Yes. With the normal crimping kit, you need to solder the center conductor. Note that the center conductor is big. You need a big soldering gun. I have in my soldering station, this is just a selection of the tips that I've got. This tip, now let me do this on the overhead. Overhead. Okay. These are different tips that I have for the soldering station. Some are very fine, but look at this one, it's huge. Now, why is that good for anything? What it's good for is the fact that that can hold a great deal of heat. Because when you go to solder something, you touch a cold joint and the heat flows down to the joint, heats it up enough for the solder. Now, if you have a little tiny soldering point, there's not that much heat to flow, but if you're collecting something tiny, or soldering something tiny, that's fine. But when you're soldering something the size of coax, you need the one because it has a lot of heat in it. And so as you heat that thing, there's a lot of heat that can flow down there. And I found with this big tip that it will solder very quickly. So, is cotton an insulator? Yes, unless it's been soaked with a chemical that makes it not. Now, if you order that crimping kit for crimping both the shield and the center conductor, then good. You won't have to deal with that at all. Okay. Welcome to the live stream. Yeah, this is Streamlabs. I use OBS as my streaming software. Going to put up my Hustler 5 BTV this weekend. Hopefully I have enough coax. Good. Okay. Felipe Lewis, private pilot as well, going for instrument. I know in order for us to go international, you need a radio operator's license. Is this the same as obtaining a call sign? No. It used to be all pilots had to have it, and I still got mine somewhere from when I first tried this. But it's a very simple piece of paper to get the radio operator's license. The call sign is your tail number on the aircraft. You get that from the FAA. I didn't know this, but I found out that you can request specific call signs or N numbers on your aircraft. Mine is N8053R, or Romeo. 8053 Romeo. Okay, let's see. Sorry for the misspell. Yeah, Have you ever burnt yourself from a soldering iron? Of course I have. Like your typewriter, it's right over there. It is, by the way, a Smith Corona from 1973. It's a classic 12. It's a portable typewriter, and it has a long platen so you can put in paper sideways. I got it, by the way, at that hotbed of typewriters, the Dayton Hamvention. In 2019, I was wandering around and found the typewriter. It's the only thing I bought was the typewriter. So, let's see. All right. Okay, what is a favorite plane you have flown? If you have flown a plane before, well, I'm going to have to say my favorite plane is the one I got, because the one I got's the one I got. It's a nice airplane. I'm going to show a picture of it, I guess. Let's see if I can find, well, let's go, we've got to go to screen. Okay, and we'll go to documents and flying and RANs, and it is this one. Yeah, that's it. That's down in Phoenix, but it is a kit airplane made by a company called RANS, R-A-N-S, in that hotbed of aviation, Hays, Kansas. And it was put together by somebody who sold it to somebody who sold it to me. So it was built around 2006, 2007, and I've owned it now for a month. The FAA paperwork hasn't gone through yet. I'm hoping that it will soon. Okay, I just received my AV680 this week, and we'll put it on Saturday. Yes, wish yourself luck. Do it over a concrete driveway or something, because there are over 200 parts in that thing, and take your time putting it together. Okay. Let's see. But somebody asked about mics. The mic I use with the ICOM 7300 is the one that came with it. Seems to work fine. At some point I will go back to a headset. Okay, so that's the bundling of the... here is David S. Pomerantz. Just wondering when the new videos for Amateur Extra will be out. I'm sure you're working on it, but just wanted to drop you an email to ask. Well, I hope to have them done by the end of September. If you will go to ke0og.net/extra, you will see the ones that have been updated for the 12th edition. And the others are still 11th edition. I get the feeling from all of these questions that there is high interest in getting those videos out there. Okay, can you slope the radials about 20 degrees to the ground? Yeah, you can if you want. Joy flying ultralights. Cessna 172. James, a Cessna 172 is an awful lot of people's favorites. It tops the charts for general aviation piston engine aircraft, single engine piston engine aircraft. There are more 172s flying than any other particular brand. However, with a sport pilot license, I would never be able to fly that. Okay, this is from Anthony Becerra, who goes by Mike, KI7YPB. Says, I finally started understanding amplifiers when I watched a video on the design of the 555 integrated circuit. I'm about 50% through your Amateur Extra discussion of amplifiers. That's one I just recently updated. There are a few, and I'm guessing many, videos on the design of the 555 integrated circuit. I don't know if you want to do a video on the design of ICs. That would be kind of off topic, but interesting. I will post a suggestion on the message board on your AE amplifiers video. Okay, I'll look for that. This is from Downy Rltc. Dave, where did you get the 4-line LCD display for the QRP Labs clock? I got it from Adafruit. Let me spell that for you. It's, whoops. I don't want to lose that, but I'll get it later. Okay. We need to go to the overhead. Yeah, I think we'd be better off like that. Adafruit. And I think it's .com. That's a D. Adafruit.com. Now, I think that might be a subtle play on words. Ada is a computer programming language that has a lot of devotees in Europe. It was used for a while in the US, and the DoD even mandated it for a while. But it is extremely object-oriented. It's rather inflexible. It's not very good for real-time stuff. But it is a solid language. Ada is named after the Countess of Lovelace, Ada, A-D-A. And she was one who did some work with Boolean algebra types of stuff. And so Adafruit is the hardware that is the fruit of Lady Ada's work. I think that's the play on words there. But it is a place where you can get lots of inexpensive stuff. Okay. Let's see. I soloed in a Cessna 152 and a Piper Tomahawk back in the day. Never got my license. The owner of Adafruit goes by Lady Ada. Okay, I think that's correct then. Okay, this came through Patreon. Thomas Bazell, KE5PQD, is a patron. Also an Augie, of course. A patron is one who has signed up through patreon.com to provide a fixed amount of money, usually like $5 or something a month, as support for channel funds. It's just one of the many ways that you can contribute to the that's not a good word, it's not tax deductible, can support the channel funding. Thomas Bazell said, where do you get your coax assemblies? I usually build them, to tell you the truth. I take coax and connectors and build my coax assemblies. I watched a couple of your videos where you talked with the guy. I had his website written down and now cannot find it. I'm going to do a run of 75 feet to a Hustler ground mount soon. Some will be exposed to weather. Thanks so much for your videos. I recently got back into the hobby and want to finally have a fixed station. I do mostly portable currently. From 73 from Tommy, KE5PQD. Okay, it's MPD Digital. Mike Papa Delta, and then another Delta, India, Golf, whatever it is, Digital. MPD Digital, okay, with the 2 Ds, .com. And that will bring you to the website, and he does all kinds of crazy coax stuff for all kinds of people, DoD, people like that. And he gives hams a break, and I've had him on the show twice. Video type thing, twice. And he's always had very interesting things to say. But if you have something like, I needed a phono plug on one end and a BNC on the other, he can do that sort of thing. So you can get any weird thing you need from him. So talk to him. He can help you choose coax and so on. I suspect you'll end up with Times Microwave LMR 400, but there are other things that will work very well too. Now, you can also buy coax assemblies from people like DX Engineering and Ham Radio Outlet and stuff like that. Those are manufactured and they come in standard footages. There's even one listed in the reference station that I did buy, because I'm buying everything that's in the reference station. That particular coax assembly is still in the plastic in the closet. It's 100 feet of RG58 with PL259s on each end. And I believe that stuff is direct burial. You want to check and make sure you can get direct burial coax. Direct burial means you don't have to put it in a protective pipe or anything like that. Okay, now this is from Vern KV5SIX. And he writes about his grounding situation. In his grounding, he says, I have a very quick grounding question that I thought I would ask you, since you've been so helpful to me. Okay. I have a brand new shack building. The electrical panel is about 5 feet from my desk. Brand new shack building. Okay. So it has a ground rod because the electric is grounded. And it's about 5 feet from his desk. And the ground rod outside the shack is not much farther when I pierce the wall for coax cables, etc. I have multiple ground rods leading from that point out to the antenna. In other words, if you've got an antenna 50 feet away, to really do it according to the Motorola guidance, you would put a ground rod every 10 feet. And then you would run a number 6 wire along with your coax, and you would do the thermite weld of that wire to the ground rod every 10 feet. Okay. So he's pretty well grounded. I recently had a fellow ham come visit, and he is insisting that my rig grounds, which all currently go to one copper bar on the wall and then down to ground through the same hole as my coax, all need to go to a different ground rod and not the same ground rod used for the electrical panel, and that are all tied to all the rods going to my tower. I didn't have enough knowledge to debate him, so I thought I would get your opinion. Is it safe to use the same grounding rod for all of the above? The answer is yes, absolutely. No problem. Because if you're 5 feet from your utility ground and you put in another ground right here and then you bond the two, from a DC or even 60 hertz AC point of view, it's just not going to be any different. And so what I told him is, sounds like what you have set up will work well. Unless you're having issues, I suggest leaving it be. And so he liked that. Now, these are the new contact forms that I've got here. They come in to me like this. They come into hamradioanswers.com. You can write to hamradioanswers.com directly if you want to. But for some reason, I have found that some of them aren't getting through. So, okay. Messi and Palini now have factory assembles available from Gigaparts. I wonder how they did that, because they... sorry about that. They, Messi and Palini have been selling through MFJ. Okay. We have a pint glass depicting Ada Lovelace, yes. To combine one assembly goes, so one recently built AV680 seems to be off with 3-to-1 SWR flat across 20 meters? Wow, check the dimensions on that. 102-inch whip for CB, home base later 10 meter, but if I stick it on a vehicle, what is the minimum clearance between power lines and antenna do you suggest? Well, the 102-inch whip is designed to be mounted on a bumper. So that ought to give you your heights and everything. Notice that will hit your garage ceiling as you go into your garage. Let's see. Okay, Messi and Paley now have factory assemblies. Let's see. Alexi is here. How are you? I'm fine. Thank you, Alexi. Hello, Dave from... Alexi is in the Ukraine. Hello, Dave from Tony. Amateur Radio, Marion, Indiana, and Gilbert Carrasco Jr. has added $5 to the channel funds. Thank you. Raoul N4RHL is asking, how does a dual band J-pole work? Well, they work well enough. I won't say they're great. The problem is that you have to get the antenna so that only, because 440 is like 2.5 times 2 meters. They're not really related harmonically, so you have to put some kind of a choke in that will keep it from only going so high when it's on 440, and that's easy enough to do. I did it in a video on my Slim Jim, except I don't think it was called that, but it's a portable J-pole that I built. Now, you have to couple to that antenna, and so you need some sort of a separate coupler. Now, there are several approaches to this, and I can't give a good answer to that, other than that you have to work out so that on 440 it only uses part of the antenna, and then it uses the right coupling section for it. So that's going to vary from one to one. That's not a very good answer, is it? I'm sorry, Rahul. I don't have a much better answer for you. You might look at some of the dual band. Go to Ed Fong's website. Ed Fong, Fox, Oscar, November Golf, Fong. He's out in California. He's a professor at one of the California State Universities, and he has a dual and triple band that are based on a J-pole. Okay, so one thing, Rahul, don't get hung up on the fact that it looks like the bottom of the J-pole is here. You've got this loop that's zero impedance, and you've got a place to feed it right in the middle. That does not mean that it's zero impedance at RF. In fact, it's 50 ohm impedance at RF. Okay, this is Carl Knutson, KB7BIE. It's printing this as kind of grayish. It's hard to read. I'm trying to build your double bazooka for 40 meters. I have never built a double bazooka for 40 meters. Carl, I'm wondering if you're getting your information from somebody else's website. I cut to your specs. Like I said, I've never done one. And I'm using RG8 coax and a 1-to-1 current balun to pull it into the tree at 35 feet. Also using RG8X as the feed line. Okay, that's not making sense to me. What are you using RG8X for? If RG8X is the feed line and you've got RG8 coax, you aren't making the two legs out of coax, are you? It says the ends are roughly 12 feet off the ground and he can't tune it on anything. I don't know. Send a picture or something. I'm curious what you use the RG8 for. This is from David A. Hold, KE5ZZO. Please schedule live streams so we are not stuck with a 15-minute slide on the later go-to-YouTube webcam. Well, first of all, let me tell you the reason I did that. The reason I did that was because if I need something on the air, if you will, that people can tune into. If I cut it out in editing, then I lose all the comments. They all go away. So what I've been doing is having my assistant in the text below the video has a list that you can click on where to go to hear the answers to specific questions. And the very first one is start a video, so you can immediately skip the 15-minute. Although, of course, well, you can see all the comments. All the comments are there. The comments show up in real time. What I've decided to do is just do what we did tonight. I'll spend that first 15 minutes prior to the formal start of the meeting just with an informal exchange. It's kind of fun to do that anyway. I did that first in Phoenix, and everybody seemed to kind of enjoy that, so I think we're okay with that. This one is from Bud Sinor, KA3OGG. He says, Dave, in your extra class video lesson 10.1, you described the molten center of the Earth as nickel. I thought that the core was primarily iron with smaller amounts of other metals and silicates. I looked it up. The center of the Earth, current thinking, nobody knows, nobody's been there. Current thinking is that the very center of the Earth is solid. It's a solid core with about half nickel and about half iron. And other junk too. Then there is the liquid around it, which allows things to move around in there, which is what creates the Earth's magnetic field. Okay, and it is the magnetic field that protects us from all this space junk that wants to damage the Earth. Okay, so that's the latest thinking on it. I have to tell you the truth, where I got that nickel from was a Tom Swift book, one that I read when I was a kid. They drilled all the way down there so they could get that pure nickel for industrial reasons. Now, Bud goes on to say, I teach ham courses for our local ARES club here in Nassau County, Florida, and ran into your courses while looking for source materials. I must say that I really missed the boat here, as this is about the third or fourth extra class I've taught using video segments and PowerPoint slides. Your YouTube presentations far outshine mine. I know how much work it takes to do even a simple class. It does. It takes a lot of work. I put a lot of effort into those extra videos and had a good time with them. Let's see. Okay. Gilbert, again, thank you. Ed Fong is a great video on YouTube for theory. Good. Hello, Dave. Hello, guys. Dave, I gather your interstate aeronautical pilgrimage was successful. Yes, it was almost a boring flight, which is what you want. It was very, very smoky. And during most of the flight, we could barely make out the horizon, and during some of the flight, we could not make out the horizon. Fortunately, we had the ground in view at all time, and of course the aircraft instruments. So we were in fine shape. We flew at 10,000, sometimes above. And on the way home, when we got to Cortez, you can't fly here from there without going over 14,000 feet. So we took a leg, we went over to Dove Creek, and then came back up the north side there around Telluride and up over Dallas Divide, and then angled north and went up to Delta. And that's how we got here. It's a shame that the ride was so smoky, because it would have been stunningly beautiful otherwise. But I did most of the flying, and it worked out really well. We stopped in Show Low for gas, stopped in Cortez for the night and gas, and then went up to Delta Blake Field, which is AJZ, Alpha Juliet Zulu airport code. And I had previously engaged a hangar there, so I had a place to put the aircraft. And that's where it sits right now, and I'm going to go up flying tomorrow. So, let's see. And so I've been busy the last week, looking forward to attending the whole stream. It's not going to be on Saturday. As I mentioned, I went through a decommitment exercise. I'm no longer going to join Tom W5KUB's show for the foreseeable future. And I'm going to stop the Saturday live stream and probably drop the number of videos to about 2 or 3 a week. But now that's after I get all the extra done. The extra I'm going to get done as quickly as I can. And then I've got a bunch of videos to go through that I owe people, to answer certain questions and so on. But I will still be very active on YouTube. And we'll be doing the Thursday live stream, but dropping the Saturday live stream. Okay, RG8X may have been used for the element and the RG8 for the feed line. That seems odd. You don't need to use coax for the element. Just plain old wire will do. I mean, plain old household electrical wire. THHN that you can get down at Home Depot. The die elements of the dipole are made of coax. That's odd. Now, if you just short the shield and the center conductor together, or just use the shield, it would just act like a piece of wire up there. But if you ground the outer edges of the coax and the inner is where you put your signal, I can see where you'd have a real problem with that. Okay, check out the antenna at Milford, Texas. Okay. I've gotten my NFED 80 through 10 meter antenna up. Now I can listen until I upgrade. Well, Steve, get on that upgrade trail there. Felipe says, nice flight. Have you decided on a flight simulator? Well, I'm going to get Microsoft Flight Simulator, but to be perfectly honest at this point, I'm too confused. There's too many versions of it. And I've got a PC here, okay? I need one for the PC, and it just needs to have a light sport aircraft in it that I can use to practice maneuvers. That's all I need. I've got a yoke assembly, I got a pedals assembly, and I got a throttle quadrant. And now I know the aircraft I have is a stick, and this is a yoke assembly. I did not have any trouble transitioning from yoke to stick. That did not create a problem at all. So some people have that. The double bazooka element is made of coax. Interesting. Don, send me a link. You've got my email. Send me a link on that. Would like to learn more. Okay, thanks for notifying me of the channel announcement. Take a look at the double bazooka here. Unfortunately, you can't put a link in the in the comments. You can do like this at this.com or something like that. That'll go through. Flower pot aerial uses coax. Hey, Randy, how are you? Good to hear from you. Okay, and Ed Fong, yeah? Okay. Is a good one to go to. He's done a lot of work on the multiband antenna for 2 meters, 1.25 meters, which is 222 megahertz, and 70 centimeters. Okay. Are you looking to use the sim to practice VFR maneuvers? Yes. Yeah, I know. I just need to work on some turns, and I'm not a natural flyer. I'm not an athlete. You know, an athlete would pick this up real quickly because it's all this eye-hand coordination. I can't throw a ball to save my life. Let's see, great work. Okay. Radio Waves double bazooka 20 on 40 that'll be reviewing on my channel. Okay. Yeah, send me an email on that. All right, we are over time, and thank you so very much. I really, really enjoy this part of the week. Sad to give up the Saturday live stream, but I'm going to have to do that. We'll be meeting here. It'll be 7 o'clock Mountain Time, whatever Mountain Time is. So when we go off of daylight savings time, we change an hour. The live stream will change. Right now it's at 0100 UTC on Friday, but that will change when we go to daylight savings time. Okay, so Thank you all very much. We got through all of the questions that I had here just right as we finished up. The chat or the form on the website is working properly now. So please go ahead and use that form. I suspect you won't be able to put URLs in there, but you can put something like Casler and then space and then at and then space and then .com, these kinds of things in there to put URLs. So I'll say 73 to all. It has been a fascinating evening, and we'll talk again next week. So 73.